Okay, great. Greg McGiveny with Cars.com. Thank you so much for coming by the CBT News Studios.
Well, thank you for having me. Greatly appreciate it.
Great, great. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect this year from Cars.com at NADA. I've heard all the buzz and all the talk about it, but so tell us, what's going on?
So we're excited to participate, so for our 17th year in a row.
Sure.
And at NADA, we'll be actually featuring service and repair, so fixed operations, which is a very strong, important part of a dealer's business from both a profitability standpoint, as well as a frequency of touch points with customers.
Yeah.
So we'll be showcasing a new product, which will really be on kind of the pillars of transparency, reputation, and a trustworthy provider.
Yeah, you know, when you hear Cars.com and you hear service, you kind of think, wait a minute, that's not to sell cars. So nowadays it's all about selling service, right?
It is, and what we found actually in our research is that 60% of the searchers actually look at a service review as they're actually buying a vehicle, as a bit of validation to make that decision.
Yeah. So tell us, you know, why is now the right time for dealers to start paying attention to marketing on the service side?
So I think over the last 17 years, they've done a really good job kind of showcasing their inventory, their dealer reputation, building the awareness in their local market. And what we've seen is that consumers are naturally searching for that next logical repair and a discovery of that, and that actually provides that opportunity. And dealers really haven't done a lot digitally in service and repair.
No, they haven't.
So we think now is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, sure. You know, if you talk to a lot of dealers, you can ask them to type in their market for their brand oil changes, for instance, or you know, lubes or what have you, and often they don't come up on Google page 1 or Google page 2 or Google page 3, and they're wondering, what can I do digitally to make that change? And it sounds like Cars has got the answer for that.
Yes, so we've got a couple ingredients and tools to actually help them showcase their great reputation. And what we're really trying to do is be that advocate for that dealership and really provide some great content for the consumer to help them make the right choice for them. And what you find is that the national chains have quite a big of a large advertising digital budget that they're using against the dealerships. And what we're trying to bring is that trustworthiness that dealers awfully have that misperception in the consumer's mind. And through some price transparency and some reputation, we're trying to help the dealer along. Okay.
It sounds like Cars is maybe trying to level the playing field a little bit, because you're right. You know, you go on and you see all the big guys with regard to the parts companies out there and the quick lubes and Jiffy lubes and such. And how does a dealer compete up until now, right?
Absolutely. So the dealers actually, Cars.com's always been consumer first, and by the participating dealers in that level playing field, we're really trying to be that I'd say neutral facilitation to have the consumer find the right solution for them.
Sure, sure. So talk to me, what do you think the consumers are really looking for when they set out to look for a service provider? What are those elements that the consumer wants?
So I think there's a couple things. I think they want to be taken care of. So there's that natural apprehension. And when you have a service and repair incident, so that's usually not a planned event, and so there's a little bit of trepidation as they try to go through that journey. There's also not a lot of price transparency, and what we're trying to do, and dealers provide a fantastic service. They've got ASE certified mechanics, they've invested a lot in equipment.
This is true.
They've got a great brand that they stand behind, both their personal brand plus the manufacturer's brand. And most consumers think that they're exorbitantly priced vis-a-vis the alternative. And what we're trying to do is educate the consumer by providing some of that price transparency and really show that there's only a small price differential, that the consumer can leave with a really good, trustworthy experience and hopefully come back and then repatronize that dealership.
Yep. The dealers that we talk to are always struggling with service marketing. You know, and they're always up, as I mentioned, they're always up against the big boys out there that are constantly dominating Google page 1, Google page 2, Google page 3. And they've just been kind of floating around, doing a little bit of pay-per-click if they can, and a little bit of some other social marketing and things of that nature. And it seems to me like there hasn't been much of a play by one of the big third-party lead providers out there to say, okay, we're gonna go after this service business for dealers.
You're exactly right, and I think they've kind of relied on solutions like direct mail and some other traditional marketing solutions that have served them well. But as we know today, consumers are all in on digital. That's kind of part of their natural behavior, even beyond automotive. And what we're trying to do is bring that to the forefront to give that dealer a bit of some additional resources to compete and really get their service showcased.
Sure. If we go back 15 years ago, when dealers were really jumping into digital, maybe even for the first time in a lot of cases, and they needed those big guys out there, such as Cars and some of the others out there, are the third-party lead providers out there still as relevant today as they were 10 and 15 years ago to the dealers?
So I think they are, because I think we really kind of view it as a partnership. So we provide a lot of behavioral insights and some consumer experiences, and as we have that dialogue with that dealer on a monthly basis, that we provide and kind of allow them to understand that data to then run their business even better. And I think what you'll find is that, similar to 15 years ago, where there was a bit of apprehension of putting your inventory online, maybe showing MSRP, and I think today consumers just expect that, and they kind of expect transparency. And if they don't find it, or if it's not present, then they just move on to the next solution. So we're really trying to be a partner with our dealers to kind of put them in the best light of the consumer, and then allow the consumer to make the right choice for them.
So you mentioned the word transparency, which seems to be the buzzword now for the last year in the retail automotive sector, right? Everybody's got to be price transparent or transparent on all the information in the trade process and such. Is that what consumers want to see today from dealers?
I think it's a component of it, and I think when it comes to reputation is another one. So even though you may have some price transparency, you've got a lot of different touch points from a reputation and really how you actually treat those customers. So that's another good indication from a decision-making process. And then I think on top of that, consumers today, third-party sites offer a lot of good content and independent, neutral content that can thus shorten that dialogue with the dealer, hopefully get a consideration of both vehicles or a service provider, and that's important for the dealership as well, because what they want is they want really good market traffic coming into their showrooms or their service bays, so they can run their business efficiently.
Sure. I spoke to a huge dealer group. This individual owns 27 automobile dealerships in like 6 different states. Big-time car dealer. And we asked him how important nowadays, is that third-party lead provider. And he said it's really not that important if you don't want to stay in business. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? He said, with all of the digital marketing that we can spend on by ourselves with regard to pay-per-click and such, I can never be that third party that gives the information to the consumer. It's always going to be from the dealership.
Absolutely.
And do you find that to be the case, that plays such a big role in when dealers are looking to expand and to go into third-party lead providers? That's probably something that a dealer just can't provide to the consumer.
I think you're exactly right, where the dealer can provide a lot of good local expertise, but he or she cannot provide that independent neutrality, because they're trying to sell, say, Fords or Toyotas or whatever their brand is, or whatever they have on their used car lot. And I think companies like Cars.com that kind of play that neutral marketplace, supplement it with independent contract or content that we provide. And that just, again, kind of contributes to that good experience. So then when they have that connection with the dealer, then the dealer can kind of use that as validation that it's a great consumer to buy a vehicle or service their car.
Yeah, sure. Nowadays we see dealers that are taking their ad budgets and giving maybe 80 or 90% to digital marketing and third-party lead providers, and getting away from traditional advertising, radio, TV, newspaper, and such. Do you find that many of your clients are doing that, and is that recommended? Or?
So it depends on the philosophy of the dealership. So there's always a right mix depending on what market you're in, and certain things provide some solutions for those. So brand awareness, and depending on the touch points in the local market. We'd love to have the more progressive dealers spend 80% of their budget on digital. And while that shift continues to go, that's definitely where the consumers are today. And as we know, consumers do not have a lot of attention, and they've got a lot of distraction. So what we find, at least on Cars.com, because we're in-market automotive all the time, so our audience is only there to transact and engage. So by providing that provides a very focused and already filtered audience for a dealership.
So you're really getting that car buyer. the guy or girl that says, I'm getting a car here in the next 30 days or what have you.
Whether it's new or used, and then we think we can stretch the brand to touch on the ownership pieces.
Okay. Okay. So talk to us a little bit about this great trip that we're going to be going on and visiting some of the Cars.com dealers from San Francisco, from San Diego to San Francisco for NADA.
The road trip.
Yeah,
so,
the road trip.
Starting in San Diego, you're correct. We're going to visit 3 dealerships along the way, progressive dealers that have a really good success story and want to share that with the audience and are really dominating digital in their local market with some best practices. So we'll be doing one each day, ending in San Francisco, and are really excited to partner and be part of the road trip.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you as a sponsor for that, and we have a lot of fun on the trip, and we have dealers. We have actually other dealers that come out to meet the staff at CBT News, and we have a lot of fun, and it's a great opportunity. And then once we get to NADA in San Francisco, we'll be broadcasting right from your booth.
Yes,
so that's pretty cool.
So we're happy to have you as a host in our booth at NADA, and we'll be able to have the dealers interact with you because obviously you put on a great program, and that'll give the opportunity to meet your fan base as usual that you touch base with, which will be good.
Yeah, hopefully for dealers that are listening, come on out to NADA this year. It's going to be a great show, and certainly stop by the Cars.com booth, which is where we'll be broadcasting from. So thank you so much for coming by.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it.
Great.
And we'll see you on the road.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We get it all.